Welcome again. In this chapter, we are going to see file permissions in Linux. Let's see how file permissions works in the Linux operating system. There are basically three categories of permissions. First is read. For regular files, it allows the user to open and read the file only. For directory, it allows the listing of the directory content. Write. User can modify like edit and delete the file and save it. For directories, it enables a user to modify its content like create, delete, and rename the file inside it. Users can also modify the content of file that the user has write permissions to. Execute permission. For files, it allows the user to run an executable file. For directories, the user can access them and access the details about the directory files. To change the permission of file and directory in Linux, we can use the chmod command. The syntax is quite simple. Use chmod, then permissions, and then file name and directory, where the permissions can be read, write, execute, or a combination of them. And the file name and directory is the name of the file name or directory which the permission need to be changed. There are two modes of adding the permission. First is symbolic mode. In this method, we use symbols like U, G, O to represent users, group, or others. And the permissions are represented as R for read, W for write, and X for execute. We can modify the permissions using plus, minus, and equal to. The second mode of adding permission is absolute mode. In this method, we represent permissions as 3-digit octal numbers which range from 0 to 7, like 477 for user, group, and others. Let's try to run this command and see our permissions in action. Let me go to bootcamp folder, and here we have a batch1 file. Let me do ls-l, and we have read write for owner and read write for group and read only for the others. Let's try to update our permissions for user as execute as well. Now chmod u plus x give the execute permission to user for batch1.txt. When I run this command, then when I check the permissions, you can see here it has now execute permissions. To achieve the similar permission in absolute mode for batch 2, we can run the following command. Here you can see, so 7 is where basically read, write, execute, and then 4 is only read. Use sudo. Now if you see here, the group has only read permission now, and the others also has the read permission. The following image gives the overview of how these numbers are used for permission. Here you can see there are 4 for read, 2 for write, and then 1 for execute. So if we use 7, then it means we are giving read, write, and execute permission. If it is 6, then it is only read and write. If it is 5, then it's read and execute. And if it is 4, then it's only read. Similarly, there is 3, which is write and execute, 2 write only, and 1 as execute only, while 0 means no permission. And following are few example of those permission like 755, which means give read, write, execute to the owner, read and execute permission to both group and others. Similarly, 444 means only give read permission to user, group, and others. When you use 777, then gives all permission to owner, groups, and others. I hope you find this chapter interesting. Thanks for watching. In the final module, you will see where to go after completing this course. See you in the next module.